Okay, hi everyone. It is me, Umbra, on a bit of a day off, and I thought I'd take a little bit of that day off and do a video to catch up on some of the things that I have missed. So today we're going to be taking a look at Reincarnation Batch 1, anything that particularly stands out, and there's quite a few characters. How many characters? Well, this is essentially Batch 1 plus Sephiroth and Amneris, which are just right up here. So we're going to be doing these in, batch videos as they actually come out, talk about the characters, and I'm essentially ranking the characters in a free-to-play view. Like, just for context, on JP currently, I think as a free-to-player, if you've spent like 0 lapis in any shops or haven't done anything like spending actual real world money, I think that the total that you could have possibly have had at this point for UR horns, which are a key item for getting a unit into the reincarnation system, is about 3 so far. It's not too terribly a lot. Now, for paying customers, yes, there is a lot of ways to start getting directly into the reincarnation system with a bunch of characters and a bunch of different elements, and that's not really what this video is about, because honestly, at this, the reincarnation system is too early to make a difference to most players. Even myself, who is a bit of a compulsory spender, there aren't that many 140s in Arena quite yet, and they are definitely strong, but they're not impossible to beat, at least not in the early days. Now, of course, top level stuff, but hey, top level field is shrinking as players are getting annoyed with Gumi's methods of particularly just making the game more expensive. So with that all being said, these reincarnation batch videos are essentially my thoughts on who is the most worthy of an upgrade. And let's get the first little bit out of the way, which is to do with SR characters. I'm not really going to talk about SR characters too much because there just isn't that much competition. They're way cheaper to build, and in terms of the content that they feature in, I mean, it's very clear that they will have a fairly, make a difference in terms of selection quest being able to beat stuff, just by having access to so much extra stats. For these type of characters, but also it's just not that big of a deal. So taking a look, for instance, at little Leela here, we'll still talk about them, but I'm not going to rank them. Little Leela, 15% HP, chance of being targeted down, upgrades one of her abilities. Now, you just effectively have to match the kanji or katakana or hiragana, depending on the actual. But it's most of the time, quite a few of these are looking at job level 25 upgrade. And here you can see, just looking across, that there really isn't too terribly much except for a much better chance of silencing. And it is powerful. It is powerful for the enemy to potentially silence. But you're mostly looking at this for very limited pieces of content. So if you're really that interested, I say go for it. Now, moving on to the MRs, this time we have 2 MRs, and basically it's just Nasha and Mediena. And Nasha and Mont. Woo. So Mont, we've already seen, basically it's missile resistance and elemental resistance. Both of these things are quite nice. I'm just actually going to expand this a little bit so we can get the full bit. Actually, let's make it match up a little bit with the Macherie. There we go. All right, so missile resistance and elemental resistance are both really good things for a tank. Also upgrading his Drain Blade ability, which was already pretty strong, but now is pretty, is just stronger. Overall, it's good. He does need to get in range to be able to happen, but if it's limited style content and you need a limited cost character, this is a perfectly fine upgrade. As for Nasha is looking at an agility boost and a critical evasion, both which are just generally good for any character, but especially good for a tank on the critical evasion. As for the skill that we are seeing upgraded, just to take a look back. Again, her job level 25 ability, which again she will have access to basically for being into the reincarnation system. Increase single target resistance, debuff defense, and spirit debuff resistance of 100, poison stop, and immobilize immunity. Quite a really nice boost for herself. And I mean, it just stops her from getting defense or spirit debuffs, so you can build her either as a physical or magic tank. It just feels like if I was to pick one of the two who I think is better, it's Nasha. I mean, also just with ice elemental characters, which is personally my thing right now, I'm very, very happy with this kind of upgrade. It's just great. It's great for a tank type character, and I'm really just quite happy with Nasha's upgrade. So between the two of them, if you're wondering who I picked the most, Nasha over Mont, but both I think are actually pretty good for lower tier characters that don't cost that much to get into the reincarnation system. All right, so let's get the next little bit out of the way, which is the easy part, Sephiroth and Amneris, which being brand new characters, I think that 90% of the time we're going to just see for a reincarnation is just a must. I'm basically breaking URs and MRs down into must, strong, maybe, and pass in that category of what I think is really worth for the, the requirements and the amount of stuff that you need to put into this system, and for free-to-players who really want to spend their resources correctly. So Sephiroth and Amneris feel like musts because they are brand new characters. Sephiroth just becomes more tanky, especially against missile resistance, which is a major damage type, which is a big contention for PvP. Just feels absolutely worth it. Now, as for the skill we're getting upgraded, I mean, we're basically getting 100% hit chance on another ability. Not the biggest deal since evasion isn't feeling that scary at the moment. But Tifa did, for example, get a kind of evasion upgrade. So being able to do this, and you're also modifying CT, and it's making one of his strong abilities stronger. So overall, Sephiroth is just simply a must. If you have him, I don't know why you wouldn't get him into 140 just to have all the extra stats. As a matter of fact, just taking a quick peek over here. Hi, Yuffie. How you doing? I would just like to go in here for a second and show, because Sephiroth was one of the ones that I definitely immediately got into reincarnation, and as you can see here, 180 extra attack is not a pittance for extra stats that he could potentially get towards making himself considerably stronger. And as he goes through the reincarnation, it's going to get even better. So yeah, Sephiroth, slam dunk, easy recommendation, must. As for Amneris, same kind of story, increased spirit penetration, decreased skill activation time is just a benefit to her kit. And looking at our skill that we are upgrading, once again, her job level 25, just absorbing 30% of the damage. Again, she likes heals because it activates her support skill ability of just giving herself immortal spirit and keeping her alive when an enemy does a massive amount of damage to her. Again, just musts. For these two, it's just a really easy on the must side. And actually, there is one other character that I did contemplate putting at must. So let me show the rankings before we go any further, because we've gotten most of the basic stuff out of the way. So this is roughly where I have ended up on ranking most of the batches, and I'll talk a little bit more about the rest of these, getting into the older characters next. But for pass, Sterne, Olde, Macherie, and Mediena, maybes go to Aerith and Barret. Strong goes to UR Mont, Tifa, Cloud, and Oberyn. With UR Mont being one of the ones that I was really tempted to put into must, but given the newer characters just seem more powerful in this case, I decided that UR Mont was just going to stay in the strong category. But that is effectively it. So let me talk a little bit more about the one that I had the biggest struggle with of where to put him, which is UR Mont. Actually, I kind of wanted to stay on that and just load up a new screen. There we go. Dun dun dun. So taking a look, Pierce and missile resistance, again, just really good for a tank to have, keeping them strong against damage types that are really prominent right now is very good. But the big thing here is the upgraded skill. And given that Mont is, a very important story character, it's good that he got something. So a defensive 20 now, HP increase of 12%, increase a chance of being targeted by 5, and when conditions are met, basically, when his HP drops below 50%, he will get an HP restore for self. And this, personally, I have seen how strong this is. This is a very, very strong ability. And for Mont, this is just really good for him. Now, it doesn't give him a mortal spirit, but he is going to become a lot, like tanks seem to benefit incredibly. One of the stats that's the most important in terms of reincarnation is HP, because the amount of extra HP that characters can get over time is a lot and can be game changing and really reduce the power of some of the characters that we see in the game right now. Like taking just a thought for myself about Snow getting a potential reincarnation is really scary, because he's already an incredible tank, but more would just make him even more powerful. So yeah, this feels like Mont having this ability. If it had been a kind of gut style ability on his support, it would have put him into must. But really, I mean, while all of this is just insanely good for a tank overall, I mean, there are just some really good tanks out there already, and I just don't think Mont's quite there. I'm not quite, it's so tough, but I'm just not recommending him as a must. Now, the next two characters that I'm putting in the strong category are both Tifa and Cloud. Cloud getting a 15% HP boost and a 50% reaction block rate is just strong in itself. I mean, 50% block rate is a ton. And I mean, getting the rest of it is not incredibly difficult. There are other sources of it, though it makes Cloud very good against reaction abilities. As for the HP, it just makes him stronger. But his job level 25, which is the surrounding slash ability, getting a 50% slash attack resistance penetration is very strong. Now, I realize that Cloud is primarily used a lot for just being a range character, and slash attacks are a second priority in terms of PvP, but having an ability that gives him just so much extra power up to all of his slash attacks, including his chaining, is great for PvE and potentially good for PvP, and gives his character another avenue for damages besides just relying so much on shooting, although his shooting power is still very strong. Overall, I like Cloud. It's generally just a lot more firepower. I don't think it'll make too terribly difference for what he is used for mostly, but I think slash resistance penetration is just going to be good for a while and keeping Cloud as a powerful character. Now, as for Tifa, on the other hand, defense penetration, single target resistance, evasion +5 with a upgrade. I mean, defense penetration, better dealing damage now. Single target resistance of 15 makes her more tanky. Increased evasion rate of 5, which actually can be a bit of a difference. Every point of evasion plus the extra evasion she can get into Reincarnation does make her more difficult to kill. And her job level 25 ability also gets attack +40 now, and an accuracy boost of her, and a decreased accuracy on enemies by 25 for 3 turns. I actually have gone up against some evasion Tifas in Arena at 140. They can be scary. Now, she doesn't have anything like next generation like Yuffie in terms of keeping her 100% safe against 100% accuracy characters, but... Oh, decreased attack, sorry. I misread that. But this is a strong combination, and I have seen it in action. It does work. So Tifa is definitely a character that I end up recommending as strong, but depends on the amount of resources you have. Now, as for maybes, really Aerith and Barret came in to me as maybe, because Aerith does get an increase in HP and AoE resistance, making her more likely to survive, and also just, you know, more durable, stays alive, deals more damage, or more chances for healing. And her job level 25 ability of also getting a CT boost when her auto revive casts. Also, now it's a 40% HP. Auto revive being stronger is really great. Sephiroth existing kind of nulls this a little bit, but not in every matchup. Aerith just looks generally better. I think that she looks overall okay. But you kind of have to be a water person. You kind of have to have the water DPS to really support this. And you might even want Amneris just to make the full water-based team. But, you know, Aerith isn't bad by any means. It's just resources are so limited, so it made me kind of iffy on recommending her. As for Barret, Barret is someone that I feel like you need an entire ice-based team. And looking at him, I mean, missile attack resistance, penetration 20, agility up by 10. Both of those are good. Barret always needs more agility. Looking at our upgrade here, he gets a pretty big upgrade to one of his abilities. We're looking at an increase of attack of 40% for 3 turns. We're looking at a defense increase of 20 for 3 turns. We're looking at AP consumption down of 25, AoE resistance of 20. And this is a lot of stuff on, you know, an ability recently that has made him considerably better than what he used to be. But the real thing here, I think, is just that, you know, having the guts makes him potentially not get killed, and that's really, really good. I like Barret's upgrade, but again, you need an entire ice-based team. Barret is not going to make an ice team on his own. Elia or Eliza in combination with Barret, in combination with the ice units that are already good. Barret is potentially really interesting, but as someone who's already reincarnated him, I haven't seen a performance increase that's made me go wow for the amount of resources and how limited UR horns are. So Barret, definitely for a specific type of account. All right, and now we just have a bunch of the old units to look through. Sterne, Olde, Mediena, and Macherie. Let's talk about Sterne first. AoE resistance of 15, defense penetration of 20, and last but not least, his job level 25 ability. You know, it loses the HP and gains a little bit more damage, and also that's about it. It's a fine upgrade to a strong ability, but Sterne has a brand new version on the horizon. So recommending old Sterne right now, just save the UR horn for new Sterne. It's as simple as that, I think. Next up, Mediena, 15% magic, AoE resistance of 15, and upgrades one of her skills, which is her job level 25. Really didn't change all that much. Matter of fact, didn't really change. Wait. Yeah, honestly, there's just nothing here. I mean, so we've already seen Batch 2, and we're going to talk about Whisper next time, but honestly here, nothing is exciting, and nothing makes me really interested in doing Macherie. Just wait for the newer version of Macherie to get hers, which probably won't be too far off. Next up is Olde. Olde, single target resistance of 15, defense of 15, and his job level 25 ability. Now we are, you know, still absorbing HP, but we're breaking a physical barrier, and this is fine, but the range on this isn't super good, and I don't think that this will make a difference in Olde's kit either, or me recommending him. And next, Mediena. Now, here's something that I almost kind of wanted to put her into a maybe category. Agility of 10%, magic of 30%, also upgrading her skill. Job level 25. Now, 48 spirit penetration, damage by 185, and healing power down by 70. There's good range on this ability. It actually does have a pretty good, like, it looks really good on paper. The one thing that I don't like about it is the fact that some tanks are getting, like, spirit debuff, which kind of takes away a little bit of DPS. Like, this is almost like an improvement, but, you know, you look at Nasha, who can basically not get debuffed, and it's like, well, this is less impressive. Well, you know, if water is a team, most of the time they're running Celeste kind of thing. You saw nothing about Mediena is overly that impressive to me, even after all this time. So I still put her in the pass category. But you know what? If you really like any of these characters, I think you should just go for it. But wait, you say, Umbra, you forgot a character. No, I didn't. Oberyn. Oberyn is just simply the best character in the game. He's the best looking character. He's just the best story character. And there's really no arguing that. And if you did argue it, well, you're banned. But Dream ability, Pierce attack of 15, initial AP of 20, and upgrades. His job level 25 skill. Breaks physical barriers now. That's essentially the only upgrade that it got. Unlike Olde, here's the thing. This character has better mobility. This character is still being used constantly and is still very strong. Even almost like it's almost been a year since this character has come out, and he's still very strong. Oberyn, I put him nowhere, or I put him on the strong category for a specific reason. I mean, he's still really good. He's still very competitive against a lot of other units. And his upgrade here is just good towards his attack. More piercing, more initial AP, so he can use abilities. And last but not least, his job level 25 does get stronger. Not the greatest range on it, but still considerably on a better unit than Olde. So therefore, it's good. And breaking physical barriers, something that this character is going to want to do as a DPSer. But yeah, let me know, is there any character that you are specifically looking forward to getting into the reincarnation system? Obviously, the reincarnation system just doesn't have the most amount of resources, so you definitely should plan ahead. Think about who you really want to upgrade. So thank you so much for watching, take care, and see you next time for Batch 2.